Well, I think that, you said initially that you don't like to try to figure out what's in someone's head or in their heart, and I would say that both of those are pretty indecipherable to someone outside.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, we can certainly judge by their behavior.
Yeah.
And look at the behavior. Benghazi goes down, he goes to Vegas for a fundraiser. The Iraq is falling apart at the seams. He goes and plays golf at some of the most exclusive clubs in the world, owned by billionaires. And tomorrow he'll be happy to jump up on the podium and make a speech about how much he hates income equality. If he hates income equality, how come he's not playing on the public course in Detroit? This is all such giant hypocrisy and such blatant corruption and politicization of our soldiers that just defies explanation to me, other than the fact that it's about control and it's about power, and their obsession with holding on to both of those and expanding them. And with this 275, 300 soldiers that are going to Iraq right now, I have no idea what they intend to do. I don't know if they're going to put them shoulder to shoulder around the embassy. A lot of people are talking about helicopters off the embassy roof, a la 1975 when we fled Vietnam. The situation is clearly deteriorating. It needn't have, but there again, there's no point in going back and saying what if. I mean, what if we had negotiated a status of forces agreement like we should have, like this administration had promised us that they would do? I think that bottom line is I don't think this president really is interested in or engaged with foreign policy, other than the fact that he wishes to diminish America abroad and bring us down to the level of what he perceives as everybody else, this sort of nothing special, and he said that in the UN a couple of times, that American exceptionalism is no different than exceptionalism in any other country. And by his demonstrated actions, we know what results we've seen so far. We've talked about that in the last two segments. So I just feel that it's difficult to take them seriously, and yet I see, what's going to happen here. Are these 275, 300 guys going in? Are they going to be pawns also? Or are they going to end up being killed or taken hostage? Or, are they going to be starring in a beheading video courtesy of ISIS or whomever else captures them? I don't know where we're going. I mean, the whole thing is very ad hoc. It seems to be foreign policy by mood, by, what do we feel like today? And the foreign policy seems to be dictated exclusively by where they think they can get domestic political gains.
And if we are looking to address what we are inevitably going to have to address coming out of this, and hope and pray that no American soldiers are lost in attempting to protect and do their job, I don't know what their mission would be fully, because we don't know how long they're going to stay, and we don't know if it's purely about getting out, and it seems to be going that direction. But then again, we're talking to Iran. I guess we have to confront this. There are some who will say, hey, Vietnam, we got out and we learned our lesson. Wrong lessons learned in Vietnam, and we can talk about that. But radical Islam is not communism. It has a desire for a worldwide caliphate, and I guess my question to you is, do you think the president understands that that Islamists are not content with containment?
I don't think he recognizes the fact that radical Islam that poses the threat that it does. And I think this probably, I don't think that he's a practicing Muslim by any stretch, although a lot of people seem to. I think that's just kind of a little bit on the fringe. But certainly it would, how could someone spend their childhood in a Muslim country, you know, their most formative years, and be attending, you know, and in essence a practicing young child as a Muslim, and not be influenced one way or another by that. And I think one of the most revealing comments he made early on in his administration was that that comment about how the morning call for prayer is the most beautiful sound in the world. And it would be discordant to someone from the West, quite frankly. I mean, I've heard it many, many times when I was in the Middle East. And it's not like church bells pealing, you know. It's a call that would only sound beautiful, I think, to someone who was especially empathetic with the belief. And so I don't think he recognizes Islam as a threat. And as a consequence, he tends to gloss over it and become very defensive about anything that may be said that could be construed as even a moderate warning about, you know, where these radicals are going, Crane.
Strategically, are we going to have a greater war, or excuse me, do you believe we're going to have a greater war with the radical Islamists in light of the fact that they are strengthening not only militarily with power, but also finance and resources and places to plan and grow?
I don't see how we can avoid it. I mean, I think that the Middle East has always been a cauldron, you know, the Middle East through Central Asia. I think it's only getting worse. I mean, these guys are knocking off banks, and apparently they've got hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars now in negotiable currency and specie. And I just see the whole thing coming unraveled. I mean, what's Jordan going to do? They're threatened.
Right.
This new Islamic State that's going to arise, you know, that's going to erase the Syrian and Iraqi border. And what are our NATO allies, the Turks, going to do? I have a feeling that once Iraq crumbles, if it crumbles, and I suspect that's going to happen,
right,
that the Turks are going to move in and take Kurdistan. So there's no easy way out of this, and yet we've got an administration that seems to always want an easy way out and always want a silver bullet to solve the problem.
And there's not one here. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.